Good afternoon, South Africa. Welcome again to the Public Protector YouTube channel. This remains my preferred communication avenue as it provides for unmediated communication with you. That way my message to you is not diluted. Often people believe that we spend our time chasing the so-called big cases which involve political office bearers, when in fact those make up a small fraction of our caseload. Therefore, I thought I should get in touch with you to share just one example of how my office continues to impact the lives of regular South Africans. But because we are on the last day of Women's Month, a period set aside for all of us to reflect on how far we have come as a country in terms of addressing the challenges faced by women, I thought I should share details of a case involving a woman. Recently, we saw news reports detailing how government owes many businesses money and has failed to pay service providers within the stipulated 30 days after receiving invoices. Some of these businesses are run by women. We know that the face of poverty in the country is that of a black woman. It is disappointing that when people, including women, try to pull themselves out of poverty to earn an honest living, they are impeded by officials and condemned to a life of destitution. The case I'm about to share with you tells the story of one such woman in Mpumalanga, Miss M.M. Madonsela, who owns and is a director of Ntshovelo trading enterprise. She approached my office alleging that on 15 December 2014, she received a telephone call from the South African Social Security Agency in Nelspruit requesting a quotation for catering services. This was for 350 people who were to attend a ministerial event which was to be held 3 days later at Thulamahashe Stadium in Bushbuckridge. Ms. Madonsela alleged that she prepared the food specified. The food was checked by the health inspector appointed by SASSA. However, when she submitted her invoice after having rendered the services, she was informed by SASSA's finance unit that she rendered her services without a valid purchase order number. According to her, SASSA undertook to investigate and report to her but failed to do so. We took up the matter and investigated the following two issues: whether SASSA failed to pay Ms. Madonsela for the catering services rendered at the ministerial event, the state institution held at the Thulamahashe Stadium in Bushbuckridge, and if so, whether such failure constitute improper conduct and maladministration. And number two, whether Ms. Madonsela suffered prejudice as a result of the conduct of SASSA in the circumstances. Our approach to investigations is standard. We look at what happened, the factual account of events, and what should have happened, the standards that ought to have been upheld, such as policies and the law. We then try to reconcile the two. If there is a discrepancy, we then make findings, either maladministration or improper conduct, and take appropriate remedial action, which seeks to bring the complainant as close as possible to where they would have been had it not for been the maladministration. Initially, we tried to resolve the matter by way of alternative dispute resolution. In terms of Section 6(4)(b) of the Public Protector Act, I can resolve such cases through mediation, conciliation, and negotiation. However, this approach failed and it compelled me to launch a full-scale investigation into the matter. I accordingly exchanged correspondence with SASSA, inspected and analyzed all the relevant documentation. I then applied all the relevant laws, policies, prescripts such as Treasury Regulation 8.2.8, in terms of which SASSA had to settle all payments due to creditors within 30 days after receipt of an invoice. I also interviewed the complainant, witnesses and relevant SASSA officials through the assistance of the Public Protector staff in the Mpumalanga provincial office. Having regard to the evidence uncovered during the investigation, the regulatory framework applicable to the matter, I made the following findings. SASSA failed to pay Ms. Madonsela for the catering services rendered. SASSA failed to contract for services in accordance with a system that is fair, equitable, transparent, and ignored the fact that Ms. Madonsela did serve lunch at the event. SASSA paid some of the other service providers who were not provided with purchase order numbers, but unfairly and discriminately failed to pay Ms. Madonsela. The process followed by SASSA to procure the services of Ms. Madonsela was not properly managed, and it led to them having to benefit unduly from the services she rendered. This conduct was in violation of SASSA's procurement policy, Section 217 of the Constitution, Section 38 of the Public Finance Management Act, and Regulation 8.2.8 of the Treasury Regulations. This conduct constitutes improper conduct and maladministration as envisaged in the Constitution and the Public Protector Act, respectively. In addition, Ms. Madonsela suffered prejudice as a result of SASSA's conduct. SASSA treated her differently from other service providers who were in a similar position as her in that they rendered services without order numbers and were paid. She was prejudiced as envisaged in Section 182(1) of the Constitution in that SASSA failed to effect payment on the invoice she submitted, not only leaving an amount of 41,650 owed to her, but also putting her in a disadvantaged position where she was unable to carry over any benefits from the project to future endeavors that would have assisted her in the development of an emerging small business enterprise. Ms. Madonsela could further not meet her financial obligations with her creditors as a result of SASSA's failure to pay or settle the outstanding amount due to her company. In the circumstances, I took the following appropriate remedial action: that the acting regional executive manager of SASSA must, within 30 working days from date of this report, effect payment of the improperly withheld money due to Ms. Madonsela, amounting to not less than 41,460, with interest calculated in terms of the prescribed rate of interest Act from date of the last invoice submitted. The acting regional executive manager of SASSA must write a letter of apology to Ms. Madonsela for the prejudice they've caused to her within 30 working days of this report. The acting regional executive manager of SASSA must take appropriate action against all officials who were involved in the procurement process that resulted in Ms. Madonsela not being paid on time. This must happen within 60 working days from date of this report. The acting regional executive manager of SASSA must, within 15 working days, submit an implementation plan to my office on how the remedial action will be implemented. I look forward to the full implementation of this remedial action. Above all, and to the broader public administration, I hope lessons will be learned from this case so that small businesses, including those which are led by black women, are not discriminated against or strangled so that they cannot continue with their businesses. Lastly, let me take this moment to thank all those who have been praying with us. I also want to thank the organizers of and those who attended the successful mass prayer for this office held in Mpumalanga yesterday. With your prayers, we will certainly overcome our setbacks. Let us continue to pray, including those who are upset that I am a praying woman and that I have staff who are also praying and are believing in Christianity, especially because the Constitution of this country guarantees them that right. One day we will understand that I'm also having constitutional right to freedom of religion, and the staff have the constitutional right to freedom of religion, and that we cannot be discriminated against due to our beliefs. And thank you.